Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with the next update for much of my stash. I'm gonna cover the 5 products I've been working on in the past month, as well as roll in some new things to work on for the final month of this year. Before I jump into the products I've been working on, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. So let's just jump into the video. So in the past month I did have a lot of single eyeshadows in this project. Actually 4 out of my 5 products were single eyeshadows, and I haven't done too great with my numbers this past month. There's 2 of the products I actually haven't even used, but I will cover them in a second. But I'm going to start with the eyeshadows that are in my C palette because I have 3 of those. So 2 of the shades that I rolled in to this project comes from Sydney Grace and my most recent order that I bought from their Christmas in July sale, and that was the shade #isaboy, which is this really like deep navy blue, as well as the shade Regal, which is like this dusty purple right here. And let's just start with It's a Boy. I used this one twice in the past month, which is pretty decent for me. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna put this back in my collection now because I'm panning a lot of eyeshadows, and I think 2 uses in a month is pretty good if I'm not trying to hit pan on them, especially since I'm trying to pan 100 eyeshadows this year, or hit pan on rather than pan, sorry. So yeah, this one is going to go after my collection, and I did get 2 uses, like I said, on this eyeshadow. However, the other shade Regal I did not do as well with. It's a beautiful dusty purple, like I said, but I actually didn't use this in the past month. I just never got around to it. I was focusing on other shades. I was focusing on a chosen shade to finish in my Panda palette, and I was using that almost every single time I did my makeup, so this one just didn't get used. And because of that, I'm actually going to keep this in my project. I'm still going to randomize 5 new items, but I'm going to keep this in to hopefully get some use out of it in the month of December. And because it's staying in, I did swatch it out there on my hand. The final shadow that was in my C palette is actually one of my Cleon eyeshadows, and this is one of their glitter iridescent shades, and this is in the shade Glimmer. It's going to be really hard to see what this shadow actually looks like because it looks white in the pan, but I can definitely see some of the shifts when I look at it, but it's really hard to capture on camera. But this is like a blue purple to a pink shift, and it's an absolutely stunning shade, and I did actually manage to get 5 uses out of this in the past month, and it's really pretty. I use it both mainly as an inner corner highlight, but also as a topper shade I think once, and I do love this. I got a lot of use out of this anyway. I actually have a little bit of a dip in this shade, or like I've evened out the pan because it is raised normally, but you can see that I definitely evened this out quite a lot. So I'm happy with the use I got out of this one, and this is again gonna leave the project. The final eyeshadows in this project is my YSL Couture Mono eyeshadows in the shade number 5. This is a beautiful taupey kind of almost purple leaning shade. However, I did not actually use this in the past month. I just completely forgot about it because I just don't really reach for single compacts like this very often, and I completely forgot about it, and it wasn't a shade that I reached for very much. It is stunning. I'm just going to swatch it on my finger for you. You can see it right there, but it's not the most impactful shade, and I just don't think it's my makeup preference anymore. And because of that, it pains me to do this, but I'm going to declutter this from my collection. I think this definitely could get better use in someone else's collection. I might even pass it on to my mum because I think this is like the one and done kind of eyeshadow she would love to wear. So yeah, I am going to declutter this from my collection. So even if I didn't use it, I'm not going to roll this over because I'd rather pass this on to a different home. So that is the last eyeshadow in the project. And then finally we have a lipstick that I rolled in, and this is one of the Chanel Rouge Allure Velvets in the shade number 2. I think this was like a limited edition collection, maybe around Christmas time, and that's why it comes in this red and gold packaging. But it is it's a red lipstick, but it's a bit of a deeper red. You can see it right there. It's not my favorite type of red, but I did reach for this twice in the past month, and that number isn't super high. But I'm also panning a more orangey red in my whole collection for the pan, and I also did have a red liquid lipstick in this project last month, so I was just very overwhelmed with reds, and that's why I didn't reach for this very much. But I do like this. I love the formula of these Chanel lipsticks, so I'm just happy that I did reach for it a couple of times. So this shade from Sydney Grace is staying in the project, but I'm gonna roll 5 new numbers to add in, well, like 5 new products to add in. So let's just go ahead and pick the first number, which will be number 402. Okay, so that's a bit unfortunate. 402 is actually a product that I have used up, but I forgot to add in the take out of the spreadsheet because that is my Monster highlight from Colourpop. So we're going to go ahead and re-roll. And the actual first number is going to be number 4, which is definitely going to be a palette, and it should be an Anastasia palette as well. Okay, this is actually perfect. It's a perfect palette for the month of December. This is my Sultry palette from Anastasia, and it's a beautiful kind of cool toned sparkly palette, and I really love this. It's a perfect holiday palette, so I'm excited to roll that in. So that is going to be the first palette or first product I'm going to have in my shop and stash for the next month. The second one is going to be number 197. Okay, so I keep rolling things I've already had or that I can't roll in, because 197 is the shade Majesty from Cleona, but I had this in earlier this year, so I don't want to work on it again, so we're gonna go ahead and re-roll, and that is gonna be 244. Okay, so 244 is actually another Sydney Grey single shadow, and this is the shade Tiara, which is like a taupey silver, which I think will go really well with the Sultry palette by Anastasia, so I think that's a really nice one to roll in as well. So that's going to be the second item. The third item is going to be 429. So 429 is a product I'm working on a different project. I don't know why I keep re-rolling things. I have a lot of things in here that I haven't worked on, so it's just ironic that I keep rolling things that I've already had. So let's re-roll again. That was my Cover Fix concealer, by the way, that I'm working on in my... Is it my Partners in Cream potentially? Yeah, I'm working on it in a project, but the next number was 505. So 505 is another product we already worked on, so we're gonna go re-roll. That was my lip glow from Dior. We got 333. So 303 is another one I already worked on. That is my Constructivist paintball from my MAC, which I think I had in last month even. So we're gonna have a re-roll again, which was 224. It's a lot of re-rolling today, but that's just how it goes sometimes. 224 is a shade I can finally work on, and that is the shade Teal from Glam Shop, which is that green to purple shifting one. It's a stunning shadow, so I'm happy to pull that in. The fourth item is going to be number 387. And 387 is also fine to work on. That is one of my blushes, and this one comes from the Balm, and it's the shade Frat Boy. So let's see what the last item is going to be, and that is going to be number 260. Okay, so 260 is another Sydney Grey shadow. I don't know why they keep getting rolled, but it's good because they are new to my collection, so that means I can reach for them. And that is the shade Meadow. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick out the shades that I'm gonna work on, or the items I'm gonna work on, and I will be right back. So I'm back and I have my items right here. And let's start with the single eyeshadows again, because that's mostly single eyeshadows, and I put them all in my C palette. And can I just say, how beautiful is this little color story that I have going on? I just feel like, okay, this one here is the Outcast, I guess, but otherwise this is such a beautiful little color story. And I have swatched out all of the things that I'm going to work on right here, and it's really pretty together, to be honest. So let's just start with the first one. Obviously, again, we had Regal right here, which is the shade that's rolling over. Next to that we have the shade Teal, which is the Glam Shop shade. And you can see this is like a green base with a purple shift, and I already have pan on it from one of my projects, but that is going to be the second item that I'm going to work on, and that is swatched down here. Next to that we have the shade Meadow, again from Sydney Grace. It's a beautiful kind of warm tone green. It's swatched right there. It's really pretty, and I actually could have worn that in today's look, to be honest. But it's just, yeah, it's stunning, and I think this is going to be a really nice shade. Although these three together are very much like spring to me, but I think you can definitely make them work even though we are in December, because I really want to play around with these shades. And I think you can definitely make a really cool look with maybe these three shades. So that is the third item. The next one is the shade Tiara, which is this one right here, and this is like a taupey silver, and again it is swatched down here. Then before we jump into the last swatch, we also have my Sultry palette. I didn't swatch this out because I don't do that with my whole palettes, but this is what this palette looks like at the moment. I do have a few pans in here, but I definitely need to use this more, and it is a perfect palette, like I said, for the holiday season. And I also am going to do quite a few cool toned looks, because I'm trying to pan the last shades in my pan palette, and there is a really cool tone transition shade in there that I need to finish, so this was going to work perfectly for that. And I think this is going to be a beautiful like everyday palette as well, and I can just reach for maybe one or two shades from here when I need something to dip into. So that's going to be one that I'm hopefully going to get a lot of use out of. And again, I think the shade of Tiara right there would go really well with these tones as well. Then the last product I'm going to have in my shop and stash for this last month of the year is the Frat Boy blush by the Balm. This one is a beautiful, it's more of a spring tone blush, I guess, or like a, yeah, spring summer tone blush. It's like a peachy pink blush, and it looks like this. I've had this in my collection for a long time, but I don't reach for it often enough, but it is swatched down there. And I am panning a lot of blushes at the moment, and I'm trying to finish up a blush which I don't think I'm going to do before the end of the year in my 21 and 2021. But I'm still hopefully going to reach for this a couple times at least, just to kind of play with the formula again. So even if I just get 2-3 uses out of this in the next month, I'm going to be happy with that. So that is my shop and stash for December. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And otherwise I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys!